Welcome. I'm Danielle Sally.
And I'm Eva Fusa.
And you're listening to Ghost Boss, stories about the freelance afterlife.
Hey, Eva.
Hey, Danielle.
How are you?
Where are we today?
Recording from home because we recorded the entire episode and we had some technical issues. The sound was not good. We apologize for the sound in this bonus. We're using our computers. It's okay. It's fine. But we'll re-record. It was such a good episode. So we'll re-record that episode.
Yes, we will.
It was so good. I feel like twice now, what I feel like could have been our best episodes yet were the ones with technical issues. So we'll re-record them and we'll get them out for you. Hopefully the following week. So we wanted to hop on here, do a little bonus episode because also last night was the Super Bowl, which is a big night for anyone in the advertising industry. So Eva, since we were going to hop on here today, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Super Bowl. What did you think?
Yeah. So I watched part of it. To be clear, everybody, I don't watch football. I'm not a sports ball type of gal. So I don't watch football. Sports balls. I don't watch football. I watched it a little bit, like intermittently. I was getting my son to bed and feeding dogs and stuff. So I only got to watch it a little bit. It was fun. I was pulling for the 49ers. I was born in San Francisco. My dad was always a big 49ers fan. I have no idea what I'm looking at when I watch football, but I watched some of it. I fell asleep like as soon as they went into overtime. Like I immediately passed out, which was funny.
Same. You're the second person I've talked to today, and it's Monday morning that we made it to the end of the game. And then as soon as it went to overtime, fell asleep.
Yeah. I woke up in the middle of the night and like went to close my iPad that had like kept running and then like rolled over and looked at my phone to set my alarm. And Joe Biden told me that the Chiefs won. Like there was a Joe Biden meme.
What's that?
Yeah, literally.
So weird.
But this is something funny I want to share about it. So I had been watching the Super Bowl downstairs on TV, and then I decided to go upstairs and watch it on my iPad. So I pulled up like the streaming service or whatever and just clicked on the first thing that I saw. I didn't realize that I clicked on the Nickelodeon feed of the Super Bowl. Are you familiar? Wait, hold on. Are you familiar with how theirs was different?
Oh, yes. They had different subtitles, not subtitles. I believe when like they showed Travis Kelce, it was Taylor Swift's boyfriend, really good at football.
Right. So that stuff I noticed it later, but this is what's really interesting. I put it on and then I was messing with something on my phone. So I was just listening to it. It took 10 full minutes for me to realize that SpongeBob was the commentator for the Super Bowl. I'm not even joking. I was like sitting there and just like, it's just in the background. And I look up and I'm like, what is it? Oh, 10 full minutes. I didn't realize SpongeBob was the commentator. That's how much I understand football. That's how much I understand football.
I kind of love that though.
So because clearly I wasn't paying that much attention, I didn't realize SpongeBob was with me for 10 minutes. I do not feel like I saw enough of the commercials to really have like a favorite. I do have a lot of feelings about the halftime show.
Yes, same.
They're good feelings, but
so good.
Yeah, but do you have a favorite? I mean, there's a couple commercials that I remember seeing, but I don't know if they're the best because I didn't see the others. So did you have any commercials that you really loved?
So what I was doing, I was watching live, but then I was also trying to keep up with it was your Ad Week or Ad Age. They were doing great like live feed and using the new Instagram Reels polls to kind of gauge so I can see where other people were thinking too after I voted. I will say I'm a sucker for a funny spot in the Super Bowl. Like when it comes to pulling at my heartstrings, Google always wins when it comes to that. Their ad this year also made me just get emotional. But when it comes to for funniest Super Bowl ad, I think I have to give it to Duncan with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. If you didn't see that one, go back and watch it. I loved it. I thought it was so funny. I'm a sucker for it.
I can only imagine. I did not see that one. I can only imagine. Just knowing those, like I can already imagine.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch in the very beginning. And I have three things to say. Like, one of the things that I thought, I don't know if it was the best, but there was a commercial pretty early on. It was about Jesus didn't judge, Jesus washed feet, and Jesus gets us. One. Did you see that one?
I called that early. One.
Yeah.
They were washing feet, and my husband and daughter were like, "What is this?" And I was like, "They're washing feet. It's a Jesus commercial." And sure enough, it was a Jesus commercial.
The reason why that one really stood out to me was because the entire commercial was still photography. There was no motion in the whole commercial. That's what stood out to me, that I stopped what I was doing and watched still photos on the screen. Yeah.
Same, actually. Like, we were having dinner and I stood up to watch what it was going to be.
Yeah. The photography was highly stylized. I really, each photo told so much of a story about who the person was on both having their feet washed and the person washing the feet. I didn't think that commercial would necessarily like resonate with me. But I found myself stopping and looking at it. So I am interested today to get online and see kind of, everybody's got a list of what the best ones was. So I want to see others, but, that we always try to stop the scroll, right? Like in all of our digital work. Well, they stopped me from moving. So I thought that was really cool. The other thing, I don't know if you know this. I don't know who knows the answer to this question, but I had a question. So, like, I know Super Bowl ad spots are very expensive, right? Like, everybody knows that. Like, it's a big thing. But when they went into overtime and the commercials started playing, I thought to myself, how do they know how many commercial spots they're going to have? And do you pay less if you're on the back end because the game might not last that long? Like,
I was thinking that
how do you backload? Yeah.
Because I'm like, they must sell, like, spots in case it goes in the overtime, right? And then I was curious because I'm like, there's a chance if you have an overtime spot, but then I fell asleep, right? So what I don't know is like, were those just repeat? Because what I was kind of disappointed about was there were a few companies that bought several spots during the Super Bowl, but aired the exact same spot. And I'm like, if I'm spending the money to go into Super Bowl, I want to put multiple spots in there. I don't want to keep even my daughter was like, I don't like this one anymore. They're just replaying the same one we've already seen.
But do you think perhaps they did that because it is a differentiator, like in that like very specific marketplace, like the idea of repeating the same spot is not the norm. So maybe you didn't like it, but do you remember what those are? Something else, I actually really wanted to tell you this. I almost texted you last night, but I was like, well, I'll just tell her next time I see her. Because I judged for the American Advertising Awards a couple weeks ago. I've done it in the past, but I judged very recently for Akron, Ohio. I'm watching these spots and I'm like sitting there like eating nachos, like, that was a 70 at most. I'm like hollering scores out.
You're thinking about it like a judge.
I was like, really? There were several spots that I was like, really? Like, it just didn't feel, so for those that aren't familiar, for the American Advertising Awards, there's a range of scores. And like, so basically, 90 and above is a gold, 80 and above is a silver. Like, in your mind, that may not shake out that way in final, but and anything between like a 60 and a 79 it's good work for the market, and you can kind of like score it within that range, like if it was really good work for the market or if it was just average work for the market. And there were several spots that like I just felt like, I mean, it's fine, but did you pay Super Bowl dollars to just be fine?
That's the thing, right?
But then there were several that looked, even if they didn't like do it differently, you could still, there was like a lot of production in it. Like there was like, there was still like, they were still bringing a lot to the table for the Super Bowl.
Right. And like sometimes the production value is very high, but then the concept isn't that strong. And it's like, man, you spent a lot of money on production for kind of a just okay storyline. Yeah.
It's interesting talking about judging, but I say this to like students as well. And I say it to people that I do judging for. And I say it to people who like submit awards. good work doesn't always win awards. Good work may not be what you remember out of the whole Super Bowl lineup, but good work still achieves the goal, right? Like good work still gets customers. It still gets people to your links. It's, still gets people to your website, whatever. Great work is something I remember later. And that's always like the differentiator in my mind. So like if I sat down and watched all the Super Bowl like ads, just like if I sit down and do all my judging, is it something that I'm going to think about later? And so that's what like I think always differentiates like something that's great versus something that's good. And good look, man, I do a lot of good work.
Yeah.
I do some great work, but I also do I pay my bills with a lot of good work. Like good work is still good work.
And I feel like when we're in this field and everyone's going to follow us, like, well, what was your favorite Super Bowl ad? Like we're doing today. And typically I go with which ones do I remember the most? Which ones do I remember all the details about? And those are the ones that I feel like were the most effective. There were some that I'm like, to your point earlier, there are some that I'm like, it was okay, but I remember it. And I feel like that says something, right? Like I might have thought as a creative that the concept was just okay, but clearly they got me thinking about it. And I think that says, I also really enjoyed, speaking of thinking about it, Verizon pairing with Beyonce. And then at the very, very end, she goes, new music's dropping soon. Get ready, or something along those lines. This was probably the only one that actually got me to do something. I instantly went to Instagram, went to Beyonce's feed, and was like, she's going to drop something. And within like a minute, she announces her new country album. I'm like, now was it great for Verizon because they're now attached to that? Of course. But Beyonce, that was the only one that really made me take the extra step, get on my phone and go see what's coming.
Yeah. I didn't see that ad. I did see her drop the album though.
Yes.
I also feel like that's a move to drop an album.
That's a move during the Super Bowl.
During the Super Bowl. Something else that I found really interesting that I didn't realize. So I watched the halftime show. Like that's what I tuned in for. My dogs were very confused why I was screaming, yeah, all over the place, but I was doing it. I was having a moment.
I don't think my husband knew how excited I was going to be about Ludacris.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It was so good. But I didn't realize, I looked it up afterwards. I didn't realize like they don't get paid for the halftime shows.
Do they not?
Like, the artists
Is it just promotions?
They don't.
Interesting.
It is. And if you go and look, the article that I read had the statistics for the last 5 years. And so they're guessing this morning Usher will have like a 200 to 300% increase in like streaming sales and stuff like that. Cause Rihanna had that last year, and that is pretty consistent with, what other artists have seen. And also like as soon as his show was over, like Vogue was dropping like a reel of him and
he was announcing a new album too.
Right. So like I just thought that was interesting. Like there's more value in the exposure even at that level than anything else.
For sure. The whole time my mind, you are actually, you're a former Derby girl. Like I was, and I remember all I could think about, I had flashbacks of the day that you made me go roller skating and thinking.
I didn't make you, I invited you and you accepted the invitation. I didn't make you.
I was being supportive. But I was like, I could barely stay upright. And I was great at roller skating as a kid, but as an adult, gravity is against me. And I just remember thinking like it took every muscle in my body to stay straight. Yeah. And this man is rolling around the stage, already the best moves ever. And he's doing it on skates? No, sir. How? Yeah. Somebody said on Instagram, I don't know if this is true, but it wouldn't surprise me, that his residency in Las Vegas, he skates as part of his performance there. Oh,
so this might be something he already does. I don't know that, but the skaters that came out looked like jam skaters, and jam skaters are like people that skate. So there's, types of skating, right?
Yes.
Like, there's artistic skating, which is like figure skating on roller skates, but jam skaters, like they just look cool. They just look slick. Like that's just look cool. Slick on skates, man.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I loved it. I was getting goosebumps during it when Alicia Keys came out and her red cape. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I was so excited.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think next year we should, I should actually watch the commercials. I think we should do like a commercial recap next year.
We should.
That feels on brand for us.
Yes. Yeah. So this worked out. It was a good thing we had some technical issues because we probably wouldn't have done a Super Bowl recap or otherwise known as an Usher recap. So it's probably a good thing.
It's the Bartos theory.
Yes, exactly. So again, apologies for our audio issues. We know audio can kill a podcast. We'll be back in the studio next week. Just please, we'll sage the studio and make sure we have good audio next time.
Yeah. Yep. I'll roll in. I'll do it. I'll look at Greg and be like, I'm doing a thing, Greg. Let me be.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for listening. And you will hopefully hear us next week.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Thanks everybody. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye. Remember to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Ghost Boss Podcast. And also please like and review us on your favorite podcast app.